We're back.
We accept the challenge of providing dangerous, thought-provoking, and sometimes controversial insights into life's most common topics.
I don't know why I packed the hollow points.
Did you just say hollow points?
Yeah. Probably should have brought a super soaker.
So recently, the point that I've been receiving from the fan base is that not all relationships and or marriages are created equal. And there's an example of this that came across, and I want to play it first, and then we can get a chance to give our points on it. So let me get into the audio and let the audience hear where we are with this.
So you're married, yeah, and you got the right one. Okay. So how long you been married?
38 years.
Oh, you got to be the right one if you stayed that long.
No, we live in separate homes. That is the right way to live.
Wait a minute, how long y'all live in separate homes?
10.
And it gets y'all, that works for y'all?
Fabulous.
Where y'all live in different states?
No, we live here in Detroit.
In different homes?
Yes.
So how does it work? I'm fascinated.
You go to your home and I go to mine. We don't have to argue. We don't have to yap. It's a good deal.
And you trust them?
Of course.
They trust you?
Of course.
How often y'all see each other?
All the time.
But y'all don't sleep in the same place unless you want,
Yeah.
want to do that.
Yeah. But it's a great deal.
My son is behind the camera. He gonna teach you and all this.
When you're married that long, it's wonderful. You don't have to get a divorce. Just get in separate houses.
Y'all heard it. When the right one comes, don't have to live under the same roof.
That's right.
Okay, so obviously, first of all, shout out to the gentleman who recorded that. His name is Bishop Greg Davis. Y'all can check him out on wherever y'all can check him out. But the concept of, just to summarize, these black folks, good Christian, clean black folks, is married. And they've been married on paper for 38 years. And she said the reason why it works for them is because they live in separate homes altogether. And she said it's been like that for about 10 years. And she really stood on it. Then, her facial expression did not change as she was talking about this. And she had two ladies with her in the video, if you go check out the video. And they was kind of smiling, but she really believes like she done found something or figured something out. So my question to y'all is, what the hell's going on that this is the answer?
A lot. Yeah. When he first asked her about being, I forgot, I can't quote what the question was, being happily married. What did he say first? Because she was like, she didn't even, that was,
he said, do you have the right one?
Yeah, that's what it was. And she said, it's like she didn't know the answer. And then when he asked, she was like, I've been married 38 years. And he was like, well, yeah, you gotta have the right one. You've been married that long. And then what did she say after that? Did she say?
Oh, yeah, I listened real close. She said, this is the right way to live.
Yes.
So I got the same questions you got, I think. He asked if you got the right one, and she kind of like, I would say that. But he said it's got to be the right one after 38. And she said, we live in separate homes. It's the right way to live.
That's no problem. Mm-hmm. When you're married and he asks you about the person that you've been married to for 38 years, is he the right one? And you can't say yes. So he's not the one. But it's just like to me, what I get from it, that marriage is more of a arrangement and probably a financial arrangement. Mm-hmm. Because the way that she described it to me, it's better for them maybe to be married on paper for whatever reason, but not living together. And they fine with that. But I don't think that's the way it should be, in my opinion. Because you can do that and be single. So why are you married if you're not living in the same home?
Right. Well, my point on that is when you say financial arrangement, it has to cost more to maintain and live in two separate homes. So that has a lot of times people end up, and maybe I'm just old and this is how it used to be, but it used to be a situation where we go together. Now forget about the marriage for a moment, just a moment. Mm-hmm. We go together and you always over here. we might as well live together and save that bread instead of you living over there maintaining a whole apartment, me living over here maintaining a whole apartment. Let's bring all of our, you already got all your stuff over here. I done set up drawers for you. You got a side of the sink in the bathroom, all of that kind of stuff. So this seems antithetical to that concept of, conquering this by combining resources. This is splitting resources in order to, that's not
you're talking about in an early relationship where people think it's been married 38 years, so which of them homes got to be paid for?
Allegedly. Here's the situation. Even if it is paid for, it could be, even if it is paid for, it could then be passive income.
Right.
If it's simple enough for your husband to live it, let's play it out. Your husband and you get on each other's nerves to the point where you saying, hey, the house that we renting out to them folks, when the lease is up, I need you to move in there. Think about that, because now you're giving up the monthly income. You're giving up access to security if your husband's not there. I don't know her situation. I know Detroit is not the safest place or the best place in the world. It's still a great place, people from Detroit. But you got this woman that chooses to live alone under her own, protection and such, and had this man go to his other spot. And from a financial, so we're just talking about the financial right now. From a financial perspective, that I'm thinking, and I'm doing a lot of counting here. That's gas. That's food in the refrigerator. That's utilities. That's a lot of other money that's going in to where this is not, to me, a financial gain, yet it's a financial loss.
It depends. So when she said ain't no arguing, ain't no yapping, all that. Now, we don't know. Maybe your husband is older than her. Mm-hmm. Now, I've heard this one lady, she went on a rant on one of these lives, and her husband was very ill. He was much older than her, but he was ill. So a lot of things that he couldn't do no more. But he gave her permission to go out there and live her life, just be discreet about it, and always come home to him. So what if it's that type of situation? He's older. He's like, hey, you still got life in you. You go ahead and do what you want to do. You do it at this house, and I'll just be over here. And when I want to come visit you, or I want you to come visit me, then you come spend some time with me.
So if that be the case,
the trust. She said they trusted each other.
They did trust each other.
I trust you to be discreet. And I let everybody, she shouldn't have did that on camera on live. I'm pretty sure that wasn't a good deal, but
so you think
I think it works for them.
This is
at 38 years, I think they probably can't stand to be in the same home with each other. But it works better for them to be apart. Now, some people will just say, he got his room in the house and I got my room. Get him in there to go to my room, go sleep, whatever. But this is the first that I've heard that people have separate homes and still be married. And still see each other and consider themselves to be married. So I'm stuck.
I'm not really a fan because I'm thinking when you get married, you become one. Mm-hmm. But right. To his question, do you have the right one? I think her answer should have been yes, to your point, because this is a dude who agrees to this and think this is a good lifestyle. And to find somebody who agrees that this is a good way to live, I think that may be the one for you. We got to make a lot of assumptions here because we don't know if they're the only children and both of their parents left them houses and they couldn't agree on which one. Remember Martin and Gina had 2 blenders and all this stuff? Then we have to count and assume that they living in these houses alone. But we don't know if he is over there taking care of his mother and she don't like his mother. We don't know if, like Dion Cole said, this is a temperature thing. He wants the house at 80 and she wants the house at 72.
Right.
So I can say from her I give him credit as being the one, I think that he's not the one and she doesn't want to let him go. Maybe he's a cheater. Maybe, she say they trust each other. Yeah, she don't want nobody else to have them.
But the trust, that to me, that eliminates the cheating. Y'all trust
she don't want nobody else to have him, but she won't say he a good man though.
But she also said, ain't no arguing.
He ain't the one. Ain't no arguing, ain't no yapping. He said yapping too.
Yapping and argue. So that means she is of the belief. So there are certain things that people have just become programmed to believe that aren't, either they're not correct at all, or for sure they being overused from a rumor perspective. One of those things is that when you're in a marriage, you're going to go through things. Like, don't even cast that out there. You don't have to subscribe to the fact that y'all going to argue, fight, he going to go upside your head and cheat on you. Like, but people have taught themselves that that's going to happen. It's bound to happen. If you drive long enough, you're going to get into an accident. You never going to like your in-laws. You know, that kind of stuff. You never going to like the mother-in-law. That type of stuff. And that's not true. There's a lot of people that love their mother-in-laws. Their mother-in-laws. But that's just a reputation or a cliche that's out there. So this concept of if you married long enough, you're going to want to kill this other person and end up on snap. I don't like that she's perpetuating that myth. And then the idea of, to keep from being at each other, arguing with each other, getting on each other's nerves, we're going to live separate lives except at our convenience, which we choose to pick and choose on when that's appropriate. And to me, the easiest answer in all this, because I don't want to get off the financial aspect of it, because I know it costs more money. Trust me on this. So many more people would be cheaters and have girlfriends and all that if it was cheap to do so. It is so expensive to keep two women happy enough. You know what I'm saying? It's so expensive. If you're doing it right, you think yourself a good dude. Any dude that's got two chicks knows what I'm saying on this when they listen to it. That shit is expensive. And you're making choices.
Yeah. As a single person, it's more expensive to take 3 people out on a date. You got to choose. Like,
man. So with that being the case, I do believe that the answer, as opposed to the way she has it constructed or they have it constructed, is get the divorce legally. Then y'all can do what y'all want to morally and sexually and whatever without that over you. But the worst part about what they doing is that if I met, let's call her Tiffany. I meet Tiffany out at a lounge or at a jazz club or whatever, because she seemed like she was of age because she'd been married for 40 fucking years. And she giving me some funky rhythm and everything is good. And then she like, well, listen, I am married, which would stop it right there. Y'all know the story about when I was in the ATL and one was like, well, don't call me on this number. Call me on this one because I am married. And I was like, what? That was 20-minute waste of my game. She wasted 20 minutes of good game to end with, I am married. I'm like, I appreciate the honesty and the upfrontness, but I ain't trying to get involved in that. And so the moral of my story is, you're involving other people, whether it be your kids, your nephews, nieces, in this convoluted delusion of what a marriage is. This is not a real marriage. Stop doing that. Because y'all got this paperwork to say y'all married. Y'all not acted as married people for years. And therefore, stop doing that because you disrespecting really married people when you do that kind of stuff. What say y'all?
So you don't think that after being married for 38 years, and let's just say they got married in their 20s.
Okay.
So that'll put them at 58, maybe 60 years old. And with the way the things are set up now, because there's laws now about being married, and correct me if I'm wrong, it can affect your 401k. It can affect your Social Security. If you stay married, you get retirement age.
Over 10 years.
Well, your Social Security can go down if you marry. You won't get all of it because you're married. So, you don't think maybe they say, hey, it just may be best. They thought about separating, but still wanted to be around each other, just to live in the same house. So you're going to stay married.
I think for her to not say he's a good man and separate on, I think it's some bitterness there on her part.
Me too.
Right.
I do too.
So I think whatever is happening is going on.
And she doesn't want to let go.
Yeah.
Because she can let go and say, you're not going to come over here and come see me when you want to. Okay, let me go and tell the truth. I don't think no woman in her good mind will allow her man to live in a whole other house. And you're married, and he comes over when he wants to, and you come over when you want to, and she's like 100% totally happy with it.
I think it was an ultimatum. Either this is the way it's going to be, or I'm leaving you. And she was like, well, this is the way it's going to be.
I think she accepted it.
Yeah. I want to know from, I guess, starting with you, Chris.
Yeah.
what could happen after 28 years that you decide that this is the solution? Two separate homes.
Nothing. And it ain't even about the bread at this point. So here's the situation. Ironically and fortunately, I got married in a church. Now, what I was thinking about when y'all was saying all that was if they got married at the courthouse and this is just a legal thing, then I understand the legalities behind keeping the 401k tight and fooling the system legally. If they got married in a church, this becomes a spiritual thing. And if it's a spiritual thing, me being spiritually bound to you becoming one, like you said, you know what I'm saying? You leave and cleave. It's all in the good book. And if we have that covenant under God, that commitment to one another, sickness and poorness and riches and health and all this other shit, if we got all that going on, we got to keep that going on until it's not going on anymore, to not bring somebody else's soul into our debauchery. You dig? Because what I can't do is be married to her under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice, and bring my hoes around at my other crib and think that residue ain't gonna get on them. I have to be considerate to the people that I involve in this foolishness. And I think that was the one thing that stood out to me is, hey, if y'all acting like y'all is and acting like y'all ain't, conveniently, y'all involving other people in this. Because other than that, what is I know how she get on my nerves so much, so consistently, that I feel like I need to get a different lifestyle somewhere else. That's called a divorce, and we still cool and I can hit. I had ex-girlfriends that I still hit. Like we couldn't be together, romantic, like in a relationship, but it was the sex was still good. You know what I'm saying? I still liked her in doses. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference when you're going with somebody. The reason why it's all cool is because you're getting sample sizing in small doses. When you move in, anybody that's done live with somebody, y'all know it's some time. Like it take a second to really be like, damn, I really want to live in this and with this, and she's like this, because I'm gonna go ahead and hit women real quick. Women extra everything when you just dating them because they show up like that. And when you come over, it's a lot of pillows on the bed in the right order, and it's a lot of candles, and it's all the prep. You don't see none of the prep. All you see is the results. Then when y'all move in together, you like, oh, so you just keep the pillows on the floor when you in the bed? So how often do you dust? Like, it's a lot of stuff that women got going on, and the bathroom is all discombobulated, and they got totes with clothes in it. It's just like, what the fuck? You wasn't this person I was going with, and then I got into you, and now you become Fred Sanford in this month.
But there's
the Pledge of Allegiance and the wedding vows.
Yeah,
I did. Because that's what you do, whether y'all want to believe it or not. There's no difference in putting your hand over your heart and pledging allegiance to this flag or pledging allegiance to this woman and her family when you get up there in front of God and these witnesses and then somebody sign off on it. Because if you did it that way, then it's bigger than you and your not wanting to argue and getting these separate cribs. Is, hey, let's just do this the right way. Come up out of this legally. And then we can still fuck around and be cool with each other, and I can hit every now and then or whatever, I'll still help you out even. I just don't need to legally be bound to tell you. You do realize that if she's not on the 401k paperwork, he could still give her bread. He could still help her out. He could still push it in his will. Like, y'all making it seem like because they not legally married, then she loses all. She could still be his power of attorney. She could still, all of that. If you want to be real about it, they make the system enough, thanks to the gays, they make the system enough to where you too can then be lined with my success and my ultimate, bequeathment and everything else. We don't have to necessarily be married anymore. That shit used to work back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the way it is now. You can have everybody under you.
To Shonda's point, he didn't want her on the paper.
So why he still married to her? Why he still married to her then? That's a lie.
Because she's on it.
So do you think he realized that that's not his soulmate? But hey, that was his soulmate for 28 years.
I guarantee you.
And then then it's no more, but they still the friend.
I guarantee you, he did it because he had a bad run, and then she was like, we ain't getting no younger, or she had a good job and he needed her insurance because he was a contractor or something, And then a lot of marriages do start off as wonderful business arrangements. In fact, it's people that don't get married because of the bread. Like we got to, when people say they got to save up to get married, what the fuck? Do you know how much this courthouse thing costs? Do you know how much? Like you can legally get married without all the pomp and circumstance, and then do a vow renewal or something when y'all get y'all bread settled. But a lot of people wait for the show of it because they're more concerned about the ceremony and not the matrimony. When it comes to these people's matrimony that was on this brother's feed or whatever, his stream, his reel, they not really upholding the tradition of matrimony. If she said in the same city, it ain't even, and there's some people, he live in another state or in another city because his job took him there and he didn't want to drag the family or have her away from her mom and dad or some junk like that. And so that's a financial decision. And then he gonna do that for a little bit. And then the plan is come back together and then we activate again. But you talking about this cat live on the east side, you live on the west side. For what? For who? Go ahead, bro.
So I think Shonda's point was he don't want to lose his 401k in the divorce. But we don't know. They could be soulmates because both of them agreed to this. You can divorce. It don't have to be two keys like the submarine. He could divorce her if he wanted.
Bruh, look, what y'all describing is two people that hope the other person die first. That's what y'all, we are sitting in a situation.
And not in the same house, huh?
And not over here, not on top of me. Not like a color purple.
Oh my God.
Well, Shonda, I got a question.
And I wonder if they have kids, because how does that work? When yeah, and y'all got children, y'all got grandchildren, but grandma stay over here, and granddaughter stay over there, and you're putting in the atmosphere that this is the way it's supposed to be after 38 years. You have to.
Yeah, she said the right way to live. She said this, so she's gonna preach this to somebody else. So Shonda, if your dude lived in a separate house, you said you wouldn't allow it. Let's just say if. Would you go over there and do his laundry?
No, but I'm gonna tell you something that's funny. This is so funny, and if he was in here, he would tell y'all that I am telling the truth. One day we were having a conversation and we was just joking around playing. I was like, oh, it ain't no divorce and nothing like that. So I was like, yeah, you can go ahead and leave or whatever, but you still don't come over here and cut my grass. And we joke about that still to this day. I was like, okay, yeah, you just tell your little girlfriend whoever you with that I gotta go over here and cut my ex-wife grass, and she needs to be cool with it. Well, we used to joke about that, but listening to this lady, I'm like, I joked about something like that, but there's no way in here I would agree to do that. But once you leave, when you pack up your stuff and you leave at this door, it ain't no other place, and then I'm coming over here, you coming over here. When you go. So why are we still together? It's separate. That's ridiculous. And I'm sorry if I forgot what the question was. I didn't answer it, but
you're right.
I don't even know how that conversation would have been. It came from an argument. They were into it. Some things happened. When they set it up, somebody had to leave something by the house. And then maybe they started back talking and said, hey, we can work this out. And maybe that person, so let's just say it was him. And he did something. And she like, get out. I'm going to keep the house. And he said, you keep the house, whatever. I'm gone. So he went and got his own place. And then maybe after some months, they talked. And maybe she said, well, you can't come back here. Or I ain't ready for you to come back here. And they just end up working like that. And they just think it's better. They can communicate better with each other if they don't see each other every day. But to me, if you're going to do that, then just take and be divorced. Because you cannot say you married outside of this separate homes. This, like the church. You know what I mean? The church is one. Get together under this. You can't be in two places. You think?
Yeah. Do you think
it doesn't make sense?
Think they went house shopping together?
I don't know. Maybe she decorated his house. Well, you know what? If they can't stand to be together, then he about to decorating because
you got remnants. Yeah, remnants in his
like, I don't need you over here because I ain't like no contact with you out. at their house, so you're not gonna buy it over here. You're not gonna bring it over here. It's weird.
Chris, do you think they have a joint account?
No, not anymore. If they ever did, but I'm gonna say it is because she said
what
something
makes
else very
them
interesting.
one? Oh, go ahead.
Nothing, and that's what it. The paperwork. Ain't no such thing as halfway crooks, and they doing this halfway crook shit is very, very bad. But more importantly, I want to lean in on this concept because I too have had this conversation about still needing cookies baked when we no longer together. So I don't know, and put it in the chat, people. Let us know. Is that a normal? Because I'm just finding this out from other couples that they had this. Hey, if we don't make it, this is what I'm gonna still need about you. And me, it was the cookies. It was the cookies, and I'm like, I'll tell whoever I'm with. I'll let them know. Hey, you know, my ex, my kid's mom, bake cookies that I'm really into, and so every now and then some cookies are gonna show up, but it don't mean nothing. It's just part of the alimony type situation, reverse alimony. So, and you talking about the grass getting cut? I sneak you bread to pay for the grass getting cut. I'm not gonna be over there. Do you know how silly that make me look to be riding a damn lawnmower at your crib and they know that you done left me?
Don't worry about what people think about you.
So if y'all get somebody else, the great Timmy taught us that extra baggage gets checked. It don't fly with me.
That's right.
I was in a relationship, and she said that the baby daddy birthday was coming up, and he asked her to cook some gumbo. I said, you go ahead and cook that gumbo if you want to. And I just sat back and wait to see what happened. It turned out she didn't cook it, but I still was insulted that you even brought that to me.
Yeah, that should never made it to you.
It shouldn't. Yeah, you should. So, you bringing up to some woman that your ex gonna bake cookies might not fly, and you talking to some dude like, hey, when we drinking lemonade and look out the window, sometimes he might be out there cutting the grass.
Man, ain't that crazy?
That's not gonna fly.
I beg to differ. It's fine with them. Because I'm just saying, it's fine with them. Because I know she is imitating somebody else, and he is too. And it has to come up in a conversation. Well, you know, my wife, because they're still married, you know, we're across town, and, you know, sometimes she might come over here, or just in case you pop up, whoever he's talking to or she's talking to can't pop up at their house. So, for me, I would be like, well, why, you know, I just can't come over? Because you don't have to explain to me you live by yourself. So you don't have to tell me I'm still married. You don't have to tell me, well, I go over there sometimes. So, I don't know. What if they just going over there when the kids come over? What if the kids only know about the first house?
It's a masquerade. See, this
See,
is they don't go to church.
You can't be happy. You can't be happy living like that.
They don't go to church. Some people like confusion. Some people like drama, and this is leading into drama and confusion. I believe that this is a better story, and y'all know situations like this in our community. This is a much better story if they wasn't too old for this shit. 38 years, like it was like 8 years.
38 years.
Man, but they done came too far to be acting like this and standing on it. Like this some shit that happens and you take to your grave. Like, you know, for the last, you know, that's something the sister tells at the funeral. Her and Charles ain't live together for, like that's, you don't let that be known in the public on wax that he's supporting, theoretically, 2 homes. Because if it's a situation where she got her own, God bless the child has got his own. If she got her own, he got his own, they can be on their own. And then, once again, because at this point, we're assuming, collectively as adults, this is just sexual at this point. Because you get on my nerves so much, and I feel like it's about to be an argument so frequently that you have to move out, not to the room down the hall, not to none of that. You have to move out. I know of a situation where 2 people had a baby. She was so into the baby that he was like, I don't want to sleep with 2 people. I don't want to. I didn't gain a new spouse when we had this baby. I need a spouse, and then I need a child. You got this baby too involved in everything, and everything is about the baby. So he went to the other room and let her just sleep with the baby and all this and that, you know what I'm saying, for as long as she needed to wean off the baby because she was really into the baby. That's still kind of tough. Because you got to be careful when you divide your attentions away from your spouse. Anybody that has a spouse or that's really into a woman, when you start dividing your attentions to other things, And sometimes it seems appropriate, like your children or like your job or whatever. But people like attention and people like to be appreciated. There's nothing that tells you I appreciate you less than me moving out and coming over periodically. There's no other way I can say I don't want you. Then I've left you physically. I don't have stuff at your house. Maybe a change of clothes, like a bug out bag at your crib because I have a whole nother crib. But legally, we're still married on paper. When we go to stuff, we still Mr. and Mrs. such and such. That's disrespectful to the real Mr. and Mrs. so and so. That's my point on it. It's so confusing. And if y'all able to do it, that's fine. But as y'all stated so eloquently on this chat, I know they bringing in other people. They involving other people and people catching strays over this confusing situation. In fact, if I'm fucking with a woman that's okay with this, she's not a good one either. Like, why is she okay with me having a legal wife that lives in another place that comes over every now and again?
I would never take somebody serious that
that's why I don't understand as a woman, how is she okay to have a whole other house somewhere and she's not in it. So she got to be tired of him. It has to be something that he done that she just can't come back from. But I know some women that will not let go of that last night, and they may feel like I'll be damned if you marry somebody else. I've been with you for 38 years, 28 years when it happened, and I'm not going to throw away all these 28 years. I'm going to stay with Miss Jenkins because it ain't going to be no other Miss Jenkins, and you can go live over there. We just won't get no divorce, and that's what I think it's about. That's why she won't say he's the one. Because she's not the one.
It sounds good in theory, but I know people that have kids that have the exact same name, and they both named after me. You know what I'm saying? I got sons by two different women, and they both Chris Jr. So all of that name stuff doesn't necessarily matter, but I think we're looking at this from a lens of she kept the house, the matrimonial home that they had, the matrimonial home that they had, and then he moved to a new place. What if he kept the crib and she started a new life in a new condo or a new efficiency somewhere, and she's building up and starting over, getting her groove back in this place and married to him? Does that change your opinion of how this looks?
As a woman, I just don't see how would she be okay with it?
It doesn't change mine. I think they both still crazy. And why is she holding on to something? You can't move on and stay.
She don't want to move on.
You can't cross the street and stay on the same side of the street you're on.
But I believe she don't want to move on. I mean, Shonda, let's say it like this: you and him don't make it, and now you apartment shopping or house shopping. Which let me ask a better question, because he may or may not hear this. Who's leaving? Y'all got this place. Who's leaving this place? Who's buying whom out?
I think most of the time it depends on who wants to go. Because when you really tired of some shit and you ready to go, you don't give a damn. Be like, you can have this shit. I'm gone.
Man, you ain't lying.
Exactly. And you don't give a damn about this 401k.
Absolutely.
This
Thank you.
You don't give a damn about none of that.
None of that. What the people say? I don't care what the people say. I don't care.
They say a man will sleep on a pointed rooftop to get rid of some bullshit.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. You talk about creating balance. Some stuff you can't afford not to do. And
it's her tone. It's her tone. It's the way she said it. So I don't think the circumstances that she in is what she chose. I think it's what she allowed.
Putting the currency on this number of years is the worst thing. Seniority and effectiveness are not the same thing. Just because you've been somewhere for a long time don't mean you're the best employee there. Just because you've been married for a long time doesn't mean it's the best marriage. You can have a 2-3 year strong marriage or a 30-year horrible marriage. It's simple math at this point. And I think that her desire to say out loud and with her chest, we've been married 38 years. Stop counting that. That's bad counting. Them ain't real years. That ain't a real marriage. It's too much caveats going on here to make you proudly say you've been married to Cletus for 38 years, but 10 of them, and she knew the dates. She knew the times. 10 of them, he'd have lived, so he had a different address where he got different stuff coming there.
You used to, yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. You were married for 28 years. You ain't been married in 10 years.
That's correct. Correct.
I'll just say it's my final thought, though. I know you said the pledge and the vows kind of the same thing. I'll allow it. Because I think you should put your hand over your heart and say the vows to yourself every day. In this interview, I think she, if somebody would have asked me this question and this is my situation, this is the perfect time to say I decline to answer and walk off, or to say it's complicated and then walk off, because this is not a marriage to me. This is not the right way to live as she described. And like you said, she doing too much counting, because I would have stopped counting at 28.
Well, let me infuse my point. What was the original question that the cat Bishop Greg asked her?
Was he the right one?
That she found the right one.
Has she found the right one? So in the easiest way and the most political way to answer that question is, I believe that I have the right one for me. Because that absolved you of saying you found the soulmate, you found the one that just make you tingly on the inside, or whatever the case may be. But you realize you a lot to put up with, and ain't no real good dude ever really gonna want to be with you anyway. So you found somebody that's lined up with what you're willing to have displayed and what you're willing to present in a relationship. Because a lot of relationships are that. There's a lot of women still to this day that's like, I need a man that can handle me and that can put up with me, and I have different, seasons and ways and all this and that. And when you up front bringing that to the table as part of the contract, part of the negotiation, to tell me you're up front basically saying, I'm going to act up periodically. You just need to accept it when it happens. But if I was to say, cool, then that's what we're going to be doing, because I'm going to be acting up periodically too. Women don't want to hear that. See, when I said it from the woman perspective, it seemed like, yeah, that's just, sometimes we have hormones, this, that. But if a dude came up to you and said, hey, love you to death. All my heart, girl. Hand over my heart. I love you to death. Sometimes I go nuts. Sometimes you won't even know who you're talking to.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I don't come home.
A man saying, I need a woman who can control me.
Control me.
Whoa. That's it. Right.
She has to understand sometimes, things happen. I go through things as we age, we change. All these things that women throw out there casually as it should be okay. I believe that this gump that she's married to legally has fallen for it and has allowed for her to create a situation where he has extra bills and extra things that he has to comprehend and evaluate. Because regardless of how unique and special y'all are, society still exists, and you have to exist under the norms of society. Y'all ain't in Utah. And if y'all ain't in Utah, y'all in Detroit. Therefore, Detroit don't allow for this to just be normal at church or at your job. You're weirdos everywhere you go that people notice what's going on. Y'all fucking weirdos. Like, that's just y'all weirdos.
I think he left and she found out where he lived.
Well, so you know what I'm saying? They got on the t-shirts that say, I'm with him, we don't live together. Like, what the hell is we doing? That's
you're not with
dumb. You're not. And you're delusioning yourself. You're delusioning your grandkids or kids, whoever else is involved in this. And it's just sad that you feel like you got to live like this. The good news about the free will that the good Lord gave us is, when it's not working, accept the loss, move on, and give space for it to work if you feel like you deserve to be happy. If you and your husband, y'all done had a good run, and for whatever reason, it just ain't clicking like it used to, you have to open up that space for you to be blessed with it to click again, whether that's with somebody or without. Don't always have to be somebody else. It could be, you know what, I need this time to myself with the grandkids and all that other stuff. It's the season and reason type situation. But if it's a situation where you're trying to make a little bit out of nothing, like I said, and I don't know if I said this on one of the previous episodes we had, but women often say something is better than nothing. Men never say that. Men never say something is better than nothing. For whatever reason, women have conditioned themselves to say a little bit of something is better than nothing. And I've only heard it from women. And that's just a bad situation, a bad way to live. And if you not living together for 10 years, I could understand a couple of months because y'all separated and trying to figure it out. and then y'all figured it out, and y'all put Voltron back together, and then because you can't, a house divided will not stand, and this is absolutely a house divided, so it damn sure ain't a home. What you say is your final point, Sean?
From a woman's perspective, and I don't know if this will reach her or any other woman, but if he leaves and he take up residence somewhere else, let it go. And there's no, you're hanging on to saying I'm his wife, but y'all are in separate homes. He has moved on, let it go, and move on with your life, because you'll be okay with all this confusion. And it will work for you all. But for your family dynamic, if you have kids, if you have grandkids, that's too much. It's too much confusion, and it's embarrassing. Don't embarrass yourself. If he leaves, if you want him gone, and he does that lie to let it go, then just stop saying them, because this is how it's supposed to be after 30 years. No, it don't. In 30 years, both of them are supposed to be on the back porch or the front porch in chairs, nothing for the grandkids, great-grandkids to pull up. That's how it's supposed to be after 38 years, not in separate homes. That's ridiculous to me.
I think that everybody has their own designation of happiness. Everybody has their own designation of what a successful relationship is. We talked about previous relationships when we was younger, and we was constantly arguing and all this other goofy stuff, and we thought that was love. And then we got old and got tired and realized that just you leaving me alone is love. You know what I'm saying? And so there's different denominations of how you show me love. But you leaving me, unless it's a situation where you know you're leaving for good and it's for the betterment of both of us, that's not a show of love. Kind of riding the fence and half-assing is the worst type of love you can display. And so if you own the fence, make a choice for you and for that other person, because kind of half-assing it for 10 years is the worst thing you could do for your soul, for your time. You only get so much time on this thing, right? And so if you not really committed to the commitment or committed to the person, then you need to figure something out, because this is not something she should have been proud of and displaying. And she can't have no real friends or no real sisters or aunties or nothing that's sitting by and allowing for this. Sometimes people go so left with shit, you got to let them do that on their own. I don't even want to be around that. Like, I've had friends that have made significant decisions that I respect the decision that they made, but then they got shit to do with me no more. Like, you got to do that over there. Hey, you like it, I love it. Go ahead and get yours. But I don't want to have no parts in that to where it come crashing down. I got to be on the stand, or they asking me what had happened, or because now I'm irresponsible not telling you what makes sense. Because if I love you, I got to keep it real with you. And nobody loves this woman because nobody has told her, stop saying that. Don't tell nobody else that. This is supposed to be something you die with, and they'd say at the funeral in secret. That's how this supposed to work. Because if you marry, you marry. And if you not, you not. Now, this is a whole nother podcast for us to start talking about people that say wifey and hubby and common law and all this other stuff. Because to me, that's different. If you're going to do this, sign the paperwork, go in front of people, cook the beans, cook the rice, say I do the rings, and leave it at that. But all this mixing and matching and doing whatever you want to do is not true commitment. It's confusion. It's misunderstanding. And it's people wanting too much and counting too much. And it causes more problems than it does good. I guarantee you, at the end of any situation like this, except in Utah, nobody looks back on it and says, this was the best thing we could have did for our legacy, for our family, and for ourselves, is to keep up this confusion all these years. That's never happened. It's never. Everybody's always regretted it on their deathbed, always regretted it when they got older, and you get to the hospital and your girlfriend can't make no decisions, but you still married to this heifer. That don't mean you don't. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's I think that's what we're trying to say on this. And obviously it was a short excerpt. She said what she said, but it had a powerful impact on what is really marriage. What is the idea and the construct of marriage that we should be abiding by? And if you don't really want to be married, the good news is, guess what? You don't have to be. Like I said, you can get an attorney. You can read the bylines of the HR policies, And you can have all these things for that person without necessarily being legally aligned with them, and more importantly, spiritually aligned with them, where it's bad enough you fornicating when you're grown and funky. Now you adultery and you compounding your crimes at this point if all sins are judged equally. And so just do yourself a favor, move on. Trust me, that lifting that weight, like he said, that baggage, not having that baggage that you're carrying around is just gonna make you feel younger and better, as opposed to having all this confusion that you're keeping up. So I think that was our point on this one. And we'll just keep looking at other things that come up, because this was a crazy, crazy thing that I think we had to talk about. But if you get a chance, go out there and look at it, judge for yourself, tell us where we wrong and where we might be right and how you see this thing, because you don't have to be married to be a good person or to be a successful person or to be happy. You just don't have to. So she was miserably married, and I'm going to leave it at that.
This concludes another episode of the Hollow Points Podcast, where we act as your therapeutic outlet on topics many think about but are afraid to speak on.
Oh, you're welcome.